TPCSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download.
Jared, hey, we're gonna need you to tone it down with the Summer Friday thing, okay?
What are you talking about?
Well, for one, it's not summer anymore.
Oh, really?
Coconut. Also, who is this?
I'm the caddy.
Oh, he's my intern.
Sorry, intern. I'm his intern.
Yeah, he's doing a great job.
No golfing in the office, okay? Summer Fridays are over. You can keep the Hawaiian shirt, but the rest of the stuff, all right? Are you grilling?
Oh, yeah. Did you want a burger or a hot dog?
No, grilling in the office.
It's a good point. We should take this outside.
No, that don't. You put that right back down.
Yo, it's all in the hips.
Oh, dude, come on, we gotta go. Let's
Good morning, sports fans from all around the globe. I am the host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and it's that time of the week for the Breakfast Bankroll with good friend and colleague, Mr. Paul Stone. We've come to the finale, the final football game, the college football game on Monday night, Ohio State, Notre Dame. Some spots showing the opening number of 9.5 with a 46, currently 8 with a 46, and our good friends, colleagues, Mr. Jeffrey Benson, Mr. Derek Stevens at the Circa. Going to bring Paul in. We're going to talk a little about what he saw last week, of course, in the two games there. The two teams, the Freeman effect, a lot of people saying big coaching advantage on the Notre Dame side, what Marcus has done there. But the X's and O's, the offense versus the defense, the star power. So we get a lot to talk about there. First and foremost, a shout out to our proud sponsors and partnerships. It's WagerWire. Head on over, to Google Play. Download that app. It is free. Viva Tequila Seltzer, 6 flavors, 2 new ones, lemon, and the East Coast is cuckoo for coconuts. And last but not least, he'll be on at the half hour, Mr. Terry Smith, CEO, founder of Atlanta Steaks and Seafood. Jump on over to atlantasteaksandseafood.com. Place an order today. Use the promo code STEAKS10. And you could be grilling by as early as Monday. So let's see what Paul's got up his sleeve. Mr. Paul Stone.
Jeff, how you doing? I tell you, the season seemed like it started yesterday, but here we are nearing the finish line. Got just 4 days, I guess, now to our national championship game this Monday, January 20th, between Ohio State and Notre Dame, two of the sport's true blue bloods. So really looking forward to it, and going to be a great football game, I'm sure.
You know, it just popped into my head, and here we got the game. I want to recap last weekend's game. I just have to, you being a UT Texas guy, surprised Quinn Ewers deciding to go into the draft, leaving like $6 million or so. Let's say for NIL money, he could have went where he wanted. We know it's going to be Archie's show starting next year. Are you surprised that he's just taking the NFL route?
Not at all. I mean, he said it all along. You know, there's a report this morning that he had a L deal from another school of $8 million, which
Okay.
I don't know, whether you believe 6, 8, whatever. They can just throw numbers out there. So I don't put a great deal of stock in it. I think some of that stuff might be a little bit overblown, but I'm sure he did have some nice options there. But I mean, the Texas quarterback situation has been on both sides, both Quinn Ewers and Arch Manning, exactly what they've said all along. Arch Manning has maintained, and his family's known that he was going to be the backup for 2 years, was going to learn the ropes, get adjusted to college life, mature, develop, things like that, and then get his opportunity. They've never wavered on that. They've been comfortable. I think he really likes it there in Austin. And Quinn Ewers has been probably the best person to handle the Arch Manning effect, meaning that, there's a lot of people who are going to naturally want to see Arch under center playing more, if not being the starter. And Quinn's handled it very professionally and been a very good teammate, not only to Arch Manning, but his entire cast of teammates. But, as he indicated, or as kind of has been known, I guess, in Austin, it was the plan for this to be Arch's team beginning in 2025. And Quinn has always, kind of maintained that he would end his collegiate career at the University of Texas. So I think that's going to come to fruition. That's the way it's going to be. And what will be interesting now will be where will Quinn Ewers be drafted in the April NFL draft? And I know he's a polarizing topic. A lot of people think he's overblown. Other people, are enamored by his talent. But I'm not really in either camp. I tend to be pretty level-headed about things. And Quinn Ewers definitely had his deficiencies. He wasn't the best quarterback in all of college football. But I have a sneaking suspicion that he's going to grade out very well in some of these pre-draft interviews and the throwing drills and things like that. So it'll be interesting. I don't know that he'll be a late first rounder, but I certainly think he won't last till the third round. So it'll be interesting to watch that. That's going to be quite the show between now and the April draft.
I'm going to stay with Texas, Ohio State. If I did a recap of Texas's season, my thoughts are, especially with the playoffs, would be, I don't know where the running game went. It was non-existent, and that was something that I thought set up the play action pass. That opened up your offense. And I said this yesterday to Tyler Wyatt, who gets the biggest bonehead play, and I'm saying it tongue in cheek, of course. First and goal from the 1, Sark with the pitch play, or obviously Penn State quarterback Mr. Drew Allen in that interception that we would have brought it to overtime, of course, if they didn't turn the ball over. My question is, take us back to the Texas game. You're watching it. You're on the edge of your seat. You got first and goal less than 4 minutes ago. You're about to tie it up. No Earl Campbell back there. No Bijan Robinson. But, hey, if they handed it to you and I with that offensive line, I think we could have leaned somewhere and tried to get there. Yeah. Surprised with the play. What was Sark thinking?
I'm always going to, maybe not always, but I'll play devil's advocate here. When a play doesn't work, it's always, hindsight's always 20/20, and we're all armchair quarterbacks. I'm certainly part of that as well. But last year, if you watch Texas and Oklahoma came back and won that game behind Dylan Gabriel. Texas had first and goal, I believe, from the 1 yard line. They ran it inside, I'm pretty sure, 4 straight plays. They couldn't get a yard. So, if it doesn't seem like the conventional play, if it doesn't seem like a sensical play call, then maybe it catches the defense off guard. In hindsight, and a lot of people have asked this question, and I think it would have been maybe a route to go and something they would have considered. Why not put Arch Manning in and try to sneak it? He's 6'4". He's long, he's rangy, he's strong. There seems to be some belief that Arch was probably under concussion protocol and under observation and wasn't going back in the game. So that hadn't been talked about a whole lot, but on the play where he fumbled or nearly fumbled, it was not ruled a fumble. But he got up, and if you replay that, you can kind of see when he first stands up, he kind of looks just a little bit wobbly for a half a second. And apparently he was not available. So that limited them. But Texas's running game was no surprise at all to me. They ran the ball effectively against people who weren't quite their size and against the better opponents on their schedule. 2 games against Georgia, the game against Arizona State, the game before, and then the game against Ohio State. Trey Wisner averaged less than 3 yards a carry in all those games. He didn't rush for 55 yards in any of those games. He's not a big physical back. When Texas lost their true sophomore, C.J. Baxter, in August to injury for the season, that impacted, what they could do in the running game. Baxter's an all-around guy. He's a powerful guy, not a flyweight. He can take contact and make yards after contact. But Wisner, even though he could do that against some of the opponents, against the better opponents, he's just not a big physical back. They had Jarrett Gibson, a true freshman from Florida, who kind of got in the doghouse early in the year. He's a big physical guy, but he has fumbling problems. And he also has protection problems. A lot of people don't understand you can't fumble the football, and you also have to be able to pass protect. It's not just give it to him and he can run. There's other aspects to being a running back. So Gibson's, some of his issues with ball security and pass protection prevented him from probably being as big a part of Texas's running game as many would have anticipated early in the year. So, that was one of their deals. They were not a big physical running team against, top-notch opponents. In Ohio State, they only give up 90 yards a game rushing, 2.7 yards per carry. They lead the nation in rushing defense, I believe. So, it's going to be tough to go inside, even for just a yard. But it was a little bit of a non-conventional call, and fans, that gives us something to talk about, and it'll be talked about for a long time because it obviously did not work. And that's what you're left with and what we talk about.
Yeah, I guess it was not so much. It was the call that I bring up, just because the fact that the loss of 7 yards, the boom or bust there. You catch them off guard and you just tiptoe into the end zone. It's not a problem. But again, the consequences, and again, not to rehash that. You're a Texas guy. The 2 losses to Georgia, and this. Overall, give me and everyone watching Standing Room Only right now on Twitter, your overall thought of the season, Texas as a whole.
Oh, I thought it was a successful season. I mean, it wasn't a wildly successful season. I think if you're a Texas fan, you're hoping they can take that next step from last year and get into the championship game and maybe win it. But they're just not quite there. If there's one disappointment, and that's maybe an overstatement, but coming into the year, the Longhorns probably were reputed to have the top offensive line in all of football, a veteran offensive line, a bunch of senior starters who started a lot of football games. And, I don't think they were quite at the level that we anticipated. They were probably the favorite to win the Joe Moore Award before the year, symbolic of college football's most outstanding line. And in that game, the first game in Austin against Georgia, we kind of saw that they probably weren't the best offensive line in all of college football. And with their inability, again, to run the ball against top-level opponents, that was probably the biggest disappointment or area where they fell short. But, being the only team in college football the last 2 years to have made the playoff, last year in the 4-team playoff, this year in the new 12-team playoff, the way that he's recruiting Steve Sarkisian at such a high level, he's got the program headed in the right direction. So it'll be interesting to see what Arch Manning does. There's been obviously great anticipation there in Austin and nationwide about his skill set and about his lineage is certainly a huge part of it. But Arch he still hadn't played a whole lot of football. He started 2 games this year when Quinn Ewers was hurt, but Arch Manning's career mostly was at the high school level in New Orleans against not the highest level of high school competition. So he's going to have to adjust in the passing game to a different level and a different caliber of competition. The game's going to be much faster. And a lot of people, they critique Ewers and they want to see Manning, and you probably heard it said as well, but a lot of things they don't take into account is like against Arizona State on the game-winning play. And Sarkisian talked about this game after game. We were in this play. He checked us out of this play. He checked us out of this motion. He got us in this play. And people who are just kind of casual fans, they don't understand that Arch Manning probably and other inexperienced quarterbacks, they're not able to see all that. They're not able to process all that and quickly make these decisions and get a team in the right formation where everybody can be blocked and things like that. Another thing that Ewers did on the game-winning pass against Arizona State on the 4th and 23 was he not only changed the play, changed the formation, he then at the last minute tightens the offensive line. He brings them in a little bit on the tackles because he sees the way the rush is configured. And veteran things like that don't show up in the box score, a lot of people don't account for. So, Quinn Ewers has kind of been a little bit of a punching bag for some Longhorn fans and others. And Arch Manning's been in that role that everybody, loves to talk about, the backup quarterback. And now it's going to be his game. And everybody's excited. And, Texas, not to go overboard on the Longhorns, but they've got Dia Bell coming in, the son of Raja Bell. He won't be on the 2025 team. But he'll be in the next year. He's been committed to the Longhorns for a long time, probably the number one quarterback in that class. And he's a generational type guy too. So Sark's getting those quarterbacks. And one of these days they'll probably break through, but there's still work to be done in Austin.
Penn State, Notre Dame, a tale of two halves. I use the word dominated. Maybe some people might look at me a little crazy. Penn State running the ball, could basically do whatever they wanted, it seemed, in the first half. Had the game, I don't want to say well in hand, but had a good first half. The halftime adjustments by Marcus Freeman, hats off. First two possessions, they score. Great fourth quarter. I kind of prefaced this earlier. You got 47 seconds. You do have 3 timeouts. I'm saying in my head, I'm going way, way back, Paul, and John Madden when Tom Brady against the Rams. Hey, let's get this to overtime, Tom, okay? And then there he goes. He leads them to the game-winning field goal. I would have been a little more conservative. You were running the ball okay. Obviously, the turnover, Notre Dame kicks. Here we are here. What did you see on a tale of two halves between Penn State and Notre Dame?
Yeah, like you said, the first half was all Penn State's. They led 10-0. There at the late in the first half, Jeter kicks a field goal for Notre Dame. And I'll say one thing, people don't like to talk about kickers and give them too much credit, but Mitch Jeter, Notre Dame's kicker, he came into the playoffs and he had only hit 3 of his previous 9 field goal attempts. So this guy had the yips. Their place kicking was an issue. And we've got to the playoffs, and he is 7 of 8 on field goals and 6 of 6 from 40 to 49 yards. And if Mitch Jeter, he kicks a 41-yarder to close the first half, then he kicks a 41-yarder to win the game. If he's not on his game, Notre Dame might not be in this spot right now playing for a national championship on Monday against Ohio State. So their kicking game, their field goal game, that third element that we sometimes don't talk about, has really come through for the Irish in a big way. And, of course, they had the kickoff return against Georgia for a touchdown, which kind of swung the game there. So Notre Dame, they hung around against Penn State, kept playing deep. They've got that great defense, which keeps you in games. You had the scare with Riley Leonard. Looks like Steve Angeli might have to be the guy in the second half. And when Angeli played, he was 6 of 7, I think, pretty short conservative passes, but he held the fort down, didn't turn the ball over or give Penn State a good field position, defensive touchdown, anything like that. So some credit goes to Angeli as well. So they hung around. And when you hang around, sometimes good things can happen. They tie the game at the end of the third quarter. Then Penn State ultimately goes up midway through the fourth quarter, I guess 24-17, and they're on the ropes, and they drive the ball down, score a touchdown on the 54-yard touchdown pass from Leonard to Jaden Greathouse to tie the game at 24, get the ball back and win it on the field goal there by Jeter at the end of the game. Greathouse, a receiver. Notre Dame's passing game, they average less than 200 yards a game through the air. And they came through, I think Leonard threw for 223 in this game, if I'm not mistaken. But they threw the ball when they had to. Greathouse, a guy who's actually from Austin, Texas. Greathouse had 7 catches for 105 yards and 1 touchdown. So he came to South Bend with a big reputation, kind of a 4 or 5 star type guy. And boy, he came through against Penn State. So the defense kept them in it. They were stellar in the kicking game, and they threw the ball when they had to. And Marcus Freeman and Notre Dame, they just continue to find different ways to win. Since late in 2022, Notre Dame under Marcus Freeman, their last 34 games, 26-7-1 against the spread. So again, in their last 34, 26-7-1, Marcus has made some people some money who have stuck with the Irish game in and game out, that Northern Illinois result notwithstanding. And also Freeman, as he is in this particular game against Ohio State, he's been a moneymaker in the role of underdog, 6-1-1 against the spread as a dog during his short tenure there in South Bend.
I don't think enough credit or enough people on social media are really giving the story here, meaning we've said this, I've said this a million times. You go to Texas A&M opening day and you win in a hostile environment. You come back home 28.5-point favorites, and you not only don't cover, you lose outright to Northern Illinois. Now, I had a few people on this week, Paul, that says a lot of coaches after that game would have lost the locker room. They would have lost the season's over with. What the hell's going on here? And these guys just came together. And what Notre Dame has done is every week after that Northern Illinois game was a playoff game, because we all knew without a conference, this team is not getting in with 2 losses, Paul.
Yeah, I don't think they would have. There was a lot of debate throughout the year as they continued to win whether or not they could afford another loss. But like you said, they were pretty much in playoff mode from week 3 on. And Marcus Freeman's a guy when he was hired. He came over, I guess, from Cincinnati, where he was defense coordinator, and then he's defense coordinator at Notre Dame. It's a little bit of a head scratcher. You think a program like Notre Dame can obviously conduct a nationwide search and get some of the biggest names in the sport to show great interest and perhaps even ultimately accept the job. And they're going to decide on a 36-year-old coordinator who's never been a head coach at the collegiate level anywhere. That's going to be their guy. And obviously it's going to be an extremely popular decision with the players, because Freeman's a popular guy, a player's coach. But a lot of times the players, they probably just want their buddy to be their coach, and they don't see the big picture as well as they perhaps could. But in this case, Marcus Freeman, whoever decided to hire him deserves a gold star, because, this guy's been I don't know how it could have worked out any better. He's recruited at a high level. They've done well in the portal when they've needed to fill in gaps. And, here they are playing for a national championship for the first time, I guess, in 12 seasons. And, they've done it. I don't think too many people probably thought they were the second best team in college football, midway through the year, or maybe even late in the year. But here they are, 1 or 2 teams left standing. And they've got a great defense. They've got a gritty team. They're playing with a lot of purpose and passion. So we'll see how it turns out.
Before I hand you the ball and the keys to the car for your breakdown and your final thoughts on this game, if I said to you, Notre Dame wins the turnover battle, Jeremiah Loves runs for 150 yards plus, you would say what?
Man, Jeremiah Love runs for 150 yards plus against that Ohio State defense. That's going to be pretty salty. He's going to have to break off. Didn't he have like a 97 7-yarder or something against Indiana. Wasn't that the game? Maybe he'll get one of those and he'll do that. But yeah, I mean, if he rushes for 150 yards and they win the turnover battle, I think Notre Dame's probably going to win the football game. I think it's much more likely that they win the turnover battle than him rushing for that many yards, because Ohio State is really good against the run. But the turnover battle is, is critical in any game. But Notre Dame, much like Texas and some of Ohio State's previous opponents, they know that Will Howard has had at times difficulty protecting the ball. Across 5 seasons, the first 4 of those at Kansas State, he's thrown a total of 35 interceptions. He's got a career interception rate of 3%, which is high. So Notre Dame, I think, is going to try to put pressure on him. They're going to try to get him into hasty decisions, poor decisions, try to force his hand, and perhaps create a turnover or some turnovers. So I think Notre Dame clearly, I think they need to do more than push the turnover battle. I think they need to be +1, maybe even +2 to beat this Ohio State team, which really has a complete roster, and especially difficult to beat this Buckeye team if Howard plays efficient football, which he pretty much has throughout the playoffs.
All right, I'm going to do a quick set commercial break, and then I'm going to hand you the football, and you give us your breakdown and any recommendations that you might have. Stay tuned. Stage is yours, Paul.
Okay, well, this game, I think, like a lot of championship games, but this one particularly, I think it's a pretty difficult handicap, because on one hand, I think you've got an Ohio State team, which, it turns out, looking back, at least to this point, that the 13-10 season-ending loss at home to arch rival Michigan might kind of be a blessing in disguise, or a wake-up call, so to speak. They got angry. I think their backs were against the wall. And as we see oftentimes in athletics, a competitor, when they're put up against the wall, sometimes you'll see their best effort. And I mean, this Ohio State team, I said it in the offseason, as did others. I think they've got the best roster in all of college football if that quarterback position's playing well. And on the other sideline, you've got a Notre Dame team that has thrived in all point spread roles. Again, for the last 2.5 seasons, they've been particularly good as the betting underdog, and they've kind of defied, public wisdom to this point. They've really, kind of seemed like a team on a mission. But when I look at this game, both these teams play great defense without question. I think Ohio State's defense, though, as good as Notre Dame's is probably a little bit better. But then you get to that offense, and that's where Ohio State has a clear advantage, especially with the way Will Howard has played in 3 playoff victories over 3 really good football teams, 3 top 7 teams, as a matter of fact, in Tennessee, Oregon, and then this past week, Texas. Howard, 65 of 88, so he's hit 74% of his throws during the 3 playoff victories, 919 yards, 10.4 yards per attempt, 6 touchdowns against only 2 interceptions. So he's taking care of the football quite well. The Buckeyes, they've won all 3. First of all, I'll back up. The Texas game, that result, quite misleading. I mean, Texas was going in, looked like for the tying score, looked like we might be headed to overtime. Of course, the big time play there by the defensive end and the touchdown, and Ohio State wins that by 14. So Ohio State's won all 3 of their playoff games by 14 or more points, by an average of almost 20 points a game. Really been dominant. They've averaged 7 yards per play, only given up 4.2 yards per play against some really good offensive teams. So they've been really been on their game. Texas, the only one of those 3 opponents to exceed 300 total yards offense versus that Buckeye defense. Texas had 341 yards this past weekend, averaged 5 yards a play. You look at Notre Dame, 13 straight games they've won since the loss to Northern Illinois, which was probably the biggest upset in the entire college football regular season. They start the playoffs. They beat Indiana and Georgia. And then, as we've already talked about, trailed Penn State throughout the first half. They're tied midway through the fourth quarter. Penn State takes the lead 24-17. They're down. They score a touchdown to tie it, and then Jeter kicks the winning field goal, win that game 27-44. So this is a Notre Dame team, again, that's doing what they have to do. Jeter's been really good in the kicking game, as we talked about. The thing that concerns me a little bit about Notre Dame is that their offense is so heavily reliant on the running game, and it is a very good running game. You mentioned Jeremiah Love. They've got the other running back, Jadarian Price. They've got the dual threat quarterback in Riley Leonard, who complements those two in the running game. They average 211 yards rushing a game, a nation's best 5.9 yards per carry. So basically 6 yards per carry they rush for. But then you've got that Ohio State run defense, only 90 yards per game allowed on the ground, 2.7 yards per carry. So I think Notre Dame's, this battle of strength, Notre Dame's run offense against Ohio State's rush defense is going to kind of be a wash, if you will. Notre Dame, again, they average less than 200 yards a game through the air. So it's going to come down to can Riley Leonard throw the ball like he did last week against Penn State when he threw for 223. I like Notre Dame, love Marcus Freeman, but I just think Ohio State's the best team in college football. And since we started the BCS back in 1998, we've played 26 national championship games. I think Ohio State's going to win this game. And in the previous 26 national championship games, if you pick the outright winner, you also had the point spread winner. So I think Ohio State's going to win. I think they're going to win by double digits. I think the national championship trophy is going back to Columbus, Ohio.
And that was what I was going to, it's sometimes as easy as picking the winner and then the point spread they end up covering as well. And it's sitting right now at 8 with a 46. So again, quick math there, you're in that 27-17 doesn't get you there, but you're somewhere in there, that 28-20, somewhere, in that vicinity. So it's definitely going to be interesting there, Paul, for sure. Everyone knows on Twitter where to find you, of course, at Paul Stone Sports. But as we always wrap up this segment, tell them about your website and what you have to offer.
Yeah, if they want to look at some of my packages, they can go to my website. Not only do I do college football, the other sport that I focus on and really have been focusing on a lot for the last couple of months is college basketball. My website, paulstonesports.org. So again, if you want to take a look there, paulstonesports.org.
Paul, have a great weekend. Enjoy the game on Monday, and we'll catch up soon.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me, Jeff. Have a great weekend.
You too. Paul Stone, go follow him at Paul Stone Sports. Check out his website at paulstonesports.org. As he said, he's just not a college football machine. He is a wizard at college basketball as well. Go follow him there. Me and Paul talked backstage. We're not sure. He's either going to come back next Thursday for the recap of that game and talk a little college basketball, and then he's going to take a few weeks off from his normal Thursday spot and then come back during the conference championships and March Madness. So very excited to bring him on there as well. Next up, Terry Smith, CEO, founder of Atlanta Steaks and Seafood. Stay tuned.
Jared, hey, we're gonna need you to tone it down with the Summer Friday thing, okay?
What are you talking about?
Well, for one, it's not summer anymore.
Oh, really?
Coconut. Also, who is this?
I'm the caddy.
Oh, he's my intern.
Sorry, intern. I'm his intern.
Yeah, he's doing a great job.
No golfing in the office, okay? Summer Fridays are over. You can keep the Hawaiian shirt, but the rest of this stuff, all right? Are you grilling?
Oh, yeah. Did you want a burger or a hot dog?
No, grilling in the office.
It's a good point. We should take this outside.
No, that don't. You put that right back down.
Yo, it's all in the hips.
Oh, dude, come on, we gotta go. Let's go.
Well, it's been a couple weeks, Terry. We've had Christmas, we've had New Year's. Busy time for Mr. Smith here. And then we had a little surgery last week. So we've given him a few weeks to mend here. So we got to talk, what is going on in Atlanta sports. And never mind, I pre-warned him last week and the week before. There was snow coming, and there was a little snow. It doesn't look like that now. So without further ado, Mr. Terry Smith. Morning, Terry.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Can you send me some heat? It looks beautiful back there.
Well, I had to step out back this morning, and it's a little dog trouble in there. Real dog, not a bulldog. So, and yeah, you were correct about the snow. We had about a good 2 or 3 days of it and freezing, and just step outside, nice and cool day, and enjoying the sun.
Well, we got a lot to recap. We'll make this quick and painless for you because, we got the playoffs in the football. We'll have the Super Bowl, but then the real fun begins, Terry, because pitchers and catchers are reporting. I know you're a diehard Braves fan. You know I'm a Red Sox guy. Before you know it, we'll be talking Augusta. We'll be talking Magnolia Lane and where the fun really begins. So, quick recap here. I think you're all set in the Falcon side. I think we've talked enough about this. You have your quarterback with Mr. Penix Jr. You have your running back with Bijan. You have an elite wide receiver with London. I don't know what you want to call the tight end. You got to work on the defense, find a new home for Kirk Cousins. But in a whole, give us the Atlanta Falcons recap.
I would say in my grade, about a C minus, maybe C, D plus. They were talking about Pitts this morning on the radio, and they said he's just a body. He doesn't have the heart and the desire to really play professional football. And there a lot of people here want to see him leave. I can't remember what he had left on his contract, but to be such a specimen and physical talent, he's just wasting a lot of it. I think I know the folks here want to see him gone. So they were talking about the play in the end zone against Kansas City earlier in the year, where there was a little bit of interference that could have changed the game, but he didn't go through and try to catch the ball. He just doesn't have that extra that's needed to be where he needs to be in the NFL. And there's a few players like him in the NFL, but on the right side we got Penix, Robinson. O-line's still okay. We're still looking for a defensive coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still not happy with the head coach here. A lot of people still aren't. We just don't think that was the right hire. The right hire sitting over there in Carolina right now. But we still got a good chance to be a good ball club with the right people here.
Well, let me stay there because I wasn't going to ask this question, but I'm going to play devil's advocate here, Terry. Another 7-10, 8-9 season. Now they're calling for the head coach. You just let the DC go. Would you ever take another bite of the apple and give Belichick another call?
Wouldn't hurt. I mean, he can only say no. So, I'd be surprised for him to leave, so quickly going to where, Carolina. But I still think he's more professional coach than college and what he has to deal with there. But of course, he's usually dealing with millionaires. Now all the college players are millionaires. So maybe he'll fit just fine. He's got a 24-year-old girlfriend, so he can relate to them. So, but I don't know. I like McCarthy. I wish he was still, maybe waited a year to hire the other guy, but a lot of good coaches are available. Let's see if Raheem can get it together and come out with a good product next year.
Championship game. We were talking with Paul Stone, of course, Ohio State and Notre Dame. When the Final Four was there, obviously Texas was there. And for you being a Georgia Bulldog guy, got to be sitting there saying, Jesus, we beat this Texas team not once but twice. Take us through the Georgia. Hey, listen, that Notre Dame game, Notre Dame opened up 1.5 point favorites. They closed 1 point favorites, but there was a lot of Georgia steam. Listen, we've been waiting for that Georgia team from a few years ago, that chip on the shoulder. We've been waiting for that defense of a couple years ago. And now listen, here's my take on it very simply. And I said this all season long with you. You had a good defense. You didn't have that championship defense of a couple years ago. And the big problem, very simply, was this. You didn't replace McConkey. You didn't replace Brock Bowers. And I will say this, Carson Beck regressed.
He did. And it's hard to replace a McConkey and Bowers for one. I mean, you're not going to get 2 all-pro or all rookies, receivers on one team. Usually, that's not normal for a college team to have. Beck would have had a lot of better numbers if we didn't drop 1,000 passes. I mean, we dropped more passes than anybody in the country. That being said, I think he played not to get hurt. That's what it looked like to me. He saw more money coming in the NFL, but after the surgery, I think he made the right decision to take $4 million from Miami. So his girlfriend's there too, so that had a lot to do with it. But yeah, we weren't as, like you said, we didn't have the Georgia Bulldog extra oomph this year that we've seen. But that being said, Kirby's still the best coach, I think, in college football. Mm-hmm. And he'll have it back. And too, he was dealing with his dad's problem too during that game. So I feel sorry for the Smart family there.
Next year, I mean, obviously Georgia doesn't rebuild, they reload, NIL transfer, and we'll have a lot of time to talk as the season progresses here. Who's going to the draft, who's not going to the draft. Just a January 16th outlook, Terry, moving forward for the 2025 season.
You're talking about the Bulldogs, right?
Yes.
I'm sorry. Hearing's not best today. We're going to be one of the top 5 teams in the country. I heard the Utah quarterback was interested in coming to here. I don't know if that's true or not. I like Stockton. I like him. I think he's going to get better. We put him in there. We don't like bringing in a guy that's been at Utah or the whole thing's just tough with the way the rules are now. But I'd like to give him a shot over the Utah guy. I think we're going to just replace, not rebuild, and be back where we need to be. And you can't win it every year. Good luck to the 2 on Monday night. A lot of people said Notre Dame just walloped us. They didn't. We outgained them, out-time. They beat us where it counted in turnovers and in big plays. They had 17 points in 57 seconds. So I think we beat them all over the field basically. And quarterback played well, running and passing. That's all they had. They didn't run the ball, but 2 big turnovers and a kickoff return. There's your ball game.
Yeah. I mean, going into the half, there was a nip and tuck game, and then field goal, turnover, short field, touchdown. So the momentum's there. Then the opening kickoff, as you said, 17 points in less than a minute of real time, and the whole game flip flops. Then, and instead of that, let's take it drive by drive and keep moving the chains. Now you're staring at a deficit. The offensive game plan changes real quick, Terry.
Yeah, it was a tough play call there where you had a left tackle that's being beaten by every play on that side. Why do you call a drop back pass the 12-yard line? That's very questionable to begin with. You can go down past 6-3 instead of what transpired. But I think really the offensive line wasn't as good as it has been. That was, I think, the biggest shock to me this year. And I think we get that healed up and fixed up, we're going to be fine.
All right, last but never least, dear to our hearts, pitchers and catchers will be reporting real soon. I sent you a tweet yesterday or a couple days ago. The Braves had a 4 or 5 year deal with Hoffman, and per their doctors, failed the physical. He went somewhere else, failed the physical. Now he's signed and delivered. It's been a real quiet off season, Terry. Are you guys waiting for Saki to announce he's going to the Padres or most likely the Dodgers and then going to add a few pieces? What's going on in Atlanta Brave territory?
I was listening to guys yesterday all around the city, and they don't even know what's going on. Everything, it's the quietest I've ever seen since AA's been GM. So he's usually made moves and, put people in place, and nothing has happened. So it's really a weird situation here. And, more and more people are starting to talk about baseball now. Our Bulldogs aren't the strongest in basketball, but they used to have a decent year too. But it's been quiet, and even the guys here don't know anything. So it's really a weird situation.
Well, yeah, Acuna, will he be ready for the start of the year, or are we going to have him out for a while? I know you had a lot of injuries. I mean, we had a list a mile long. Albies, the list was endless. You lost Strider, of course. Thank God Chris Sale stayed upright for most and all of the year until the playoffs. Any updates on any of the injuries?
I haven't heard any. They're thinking Acuna's going to be real close. Maybe 1st of May. You gotta have him in the lineup. And like you said, half the starting lineup was out last year at some point. And most guys were out half the season or the whole season. It was a miracle we made the playoffs. I don't know how we did it, but I like Schwellenberger, his pitching. AJ, I have a trouble with his last name. They call him sharpshooter. But and we got to get some more pitching. We got to find. I wish we could find another one, but I don't think it's out there. If we do, we just don't know. But we at least got to find some guys that can give us some innings and keep us in the ball game.
Well, you can go. Meaning the Red Sox did get Walker Buehler, thank goodness there. You got Blackjack Flaherty out there. He could be a stopgap for you. Showed flashes. So he's out there. And then a back end arm, maybe you can get him for a year if you want. And I love him. I want him on the Red Sox. That's Tanner Scott. He's still out there.
Oh, yeah.
You could add a lefty flamethrower there again to strengthen that back end there. So just a couple pieces. I think everyone's just waiting for the announcement. Where's Saki going? I think then you're going to see the floodgates going. Is Bregman, where's he going? Santander's still out there. I talked about Flaherty, Tanner Scott. There's a lot still out there. So maybe AA's just sitting back waiting for the Saki news and then going to start spending some money.
I know you notice it, but I think the off-season baseball's been quiet from what it has been. Like I said, maybe everybody's waiting for things to fall. But, usually, other than the Yankees and Dodgers making moves, I mean, Houston a little bit, but it's been a weird off season for baseball.
Well, we're going to go to a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to tell everyone what you have to offer at AtlantaSteaksAndSeafood.com. We've been talking about your subscription plan every show here. So let's go to a quick commercial. When we come back, the stage is yours, Terry. Be right back.
Thank you.
grill is yours, Terry.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, we're all trying to eat healthy here in Atlanta. Hope everybody else is trying to eat the same way across the country. And yeah, we are promoting our subscription packs first of the year. We have our basic pack, our favorite pack, our 4 biggest sell items. We have fillets, Norwegian salmon, our burgers and chicken. 16 items for $149. And also have a seafood package, little steak package, and another little variety package. And as always, we're doing a 10% off with steaks 10. And I do have something to say about shipping. The cost of shipping has gone really high here at the first of the year. So if everybody that wants to order, please call us for some updated shipping. We're working on the price right now. And right now we're just asking people to call in at 770-873-2733. And we can just, once it arrives at your house, we can charge you. We're not going to charge you beforehand. So 1 box is fine, but we're getting into people order more than a little bit. It's the cost has gone up about, 20%. So we're still working on that for the new year.
And people don't understand that. I got more emails before the start of the year. Due to this, due to that, we're bumping your annual price here, there, everywhere, whether it was the gym, whether it was YouTube TV. I mean, everyone's doing it. So what Terry is saying to everyone very simply is this. I've always said you got the best product in the world, number one. But number two, your customer service is second to none, because there he is right there. That's Terry. So when I talk about you, Terry, I very simply say, go over to Facebook.
Yep.
Follow Terry Smith, introduce yourself, then head over to atlantasteaksandseafood.com, place the order, use the promo code STEAKS10. You'll get your price there. Then they can reach out to you, say, hey, Terry, I'm in Cape Cod, Massachusetts here. This is what they're charging me. And you're always there to work with the people.
Yeah, that's all. We're all about customer service. I mean, the product's excellent too, but you can't fix it on the customer service side on the back end. It's hard to deal with a company, and we always pride ourselves in making sure that everybody's happy and pleased and get what they want and on time.
Well, guys, again, atlantasteaksandseafood.com, promo code STEAKS10, get 10% off the full order. Head on over to Facebook, follow Terry Smith. He's right here. He comes on. We try to get him on every week, but life gets busy. Orders get busy. Customer service, surgery gets busy. Yes. And we're going to have you on throughout, obviously, the playoffs, the Super Bowl. But I can't wait for some spring training talk, pitchers and catchers, and then, of course, opening day. So everyone here, it's been standing room only. We can't thank you enough. 3 o'clock. Lou Finicaro is back, UFC 311. Come on board there. And at 5 o'clock, Ron Marmolevsky, live from L.A. We'll be talking college football and NFL. So for myself, Jeff Dawson, and EC Sports Investor, the one and only Terry Smith at Atlanta Steaks and Seafood, we wish everyone a blessed day. Enjoy your lunch, and we'll see you back around 3 p.m. Stay tuned.
Sure will. Thank you, sir. Have a good week.
You as well.